What started out as a meme now are farms in the abyss. It can only be. What makes us click on this title week to week? Why does this title feel so special? That's the hot topic of this video. Of course, there doesn't have to be just one aspect of Kagurabachi that you keep coming back week to read. Or at least for me personally, there's many reasons. The big ones would be writing, art, characters, and fights. But what if I told you there was something else? Something that Hokuzono does better than most, even at his young age, that keeps us coming back. It keeps Kagurabachi in the conversations of the most popular manga currently running. That being said, this is not to discredit the 4 previous aspects I mentioned. While the topic of this video may be his best aspect, those 4 cement Kagurabachi and give it its place, its spot among the best currently running in Shonen Jump. So it's only right to give those aspects their own place, their own time in this video and appreciate them. Show why those aspects are so well done in Kagurabachi. We'll save the best for last. And before we begin, I want to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel. I am going to be publishing more Kagurabachi content, but also have some other things planned. Thank you and enjoy. Writing is perhaps the most weighted aspect of a story. You can have great art or cool characters, but if the pieces aren't moving or connecting very well, then it won't have much substance. Great art with no story is like one of those expensive meals at a restaurant. It looks great, but there's just not enough to fill you up. Luckily, this is Kagurabachi, and we don't really have that issue. Hokuzono managed to cook up a meal that looks great, and there's enough to fill you up. Now, is it a perfect story? Of course not. But for a young mangaka in his mid-20s, he's not doing a bad job of crafting this story that keeps us reading, keeps us invested, especially considering this is his first serialization in Shonen Jump, which that's the most stressful magazine to be publishing in. But he continues to deliver week after week, consistent, and the story's only getting more interesting. We started this story with a basic revenge plot essentially. A young man wants to get revenge for this group of people who killed his father. Kunishige was a hero. He created the swords that turned the tide of war, and that's what they were after. So now Chihiro set out on a path of revenge to get the swords back and basically save his father's legacy in a sense. At this point in the story's timeline, there's never been 2 enchanted blades battling each other. And if 2 enchanted blades were to clash in battle, the risk of casualties skyrocket, which makes Chihiro all that more remarkable in his fight against Sojo. He managed to fight him and save all the innocent civilians around him. Sojo changes Chihiro's perspective on the enchanted blades in his father's work, understanding that they see a different depiction of Kunishige than the one that he knows. From this point forward, I feel like the story really gets its legs. It starts to fill itself out. We get Hakri in the next arc, and Hakri introduces the concept of a toxic family trait to Chihiro. He wasn't aware that his emotional resolve would be challenged on his feelings for his father. Iori is kind of a good mirror for Chihiro. Looking at her in her situation, Chihiro was able to ask himself, what if? He entertains the idea of not living with his father, which would mean he isn't covered in scars, he'd be able to go to school. Basically have a normal life of a teenager that doesn't require him to put his life on the line every day. But the conclusion he arrived at was the memories are that precious to him that he wouldn't trade them for anything. There's not much to say about the art because it speaks for itself. We all know its peak, so I'm not really going to spend a bunch of time talking about it. But one cool thing about manga artists, as they release their chapters and the years go by, we get to see their growth and development. Hokuzono's already great in the art department, but with time and experience, he will become special, and you, like me, I'm sure will be along for the ride. Considering the level his art's at, it speaks volumes to what his actual best aspect is, because it would have to be something substantial if it's better than the art. This next one is also pretty special in Kagurabachi. In fact, I think most fans would probably say this entry is the best aspect in Kagurabachi. Hokuzono has crafted a pretty nice well-rounded cast. I think there's a character for everybody, and there's enough of a group element to give Hokuzono many different avenues to connect characters or just to explore different character choices. His ability to create cool and interesting characters is proven based on how the fandom feels about characters we know very little about. Shiba, Azami, Yura. I mean, just to be honest, Yura is my second favorite character. But that brings me to my favorite character, and that's Chihiro Rakuhira. I really enjoy the fact that Chihiro is a logical character. He deals with things head on and he acknowledges others' resolve by giving them his full attention. Hokuzono came up with some pretty cool designs for characters. I mean, Hayuki's great, Sumi's awesome, Glasses Girl, Kamunabe as I call her, great. Uraha and Samura's designs are really good, and they're good on two different ends of the discussion, where one is more of like a ronin, the other resembles something of a movie actor. I love Yura's design. I think the Swordmaster is very compelling, and I'm looking forward to see what he does with that character. By the way, it's insane for the main character in a Shonen Jump story to have this dramatic of a makeover and design so early. Of course, we have to mention the fights. Hokuzono has excellent fight choreography, is very fun and engaging, a bit edgy at times, sure, but off the top of my head, the things that I think of first is his battle with Kiora, how he used Kiora's store space and manipulated it in a way I didn't even think was possible, but then to turn it on its head and then allow him to wield a part of the Magatsumi. The fight was really a roller coaster, and it concluded in a very satisfying way. Hokuzono's execution of that fight was flawless. I mean, it had fun, eventful moments like cutting the grenades in half, the fake out with Hakuri's sorcery, Hiyuki coming in, the Magatsumi being used. And it's not like Hokuzono only locks in for the big fights. The choreography when Kaguri was in that high-speed chase trying to get Yori back from Chihiro and the Masumi. Chihiro and Hirohiko's fights have been really fun. Azami just beat the piss out of two fodder people, that was fun to watch. Like Dice said in our Kagurabachi podcast episode, he had his own walkout music. Samura has been showing off some of the craziest moves. And we're starting to get more information on sorcery. So this may open up for more sorcerer versus sorcerer fights. God, I am hoping for Yura versus Shiba. Or just see different applications of sorcery in the story. And it's not just about choreography. The fights feel weighted, they feel like they have stakes. Those four things play a pivotal part in Kagurabachi. I'm pretty sure that's obvious. But the thing Hokuzono excels at is his ability to keep engagement up on the week-to-week read. Yes, I think the weekly reading experience is one of the best parts, if not the best part, about Kagurabachi. Within Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, there's other series who do those components just as good, if not better, than Kagurabachi. I've checked out a bit of all these series, well, except for Akane Banashi. I read a little bit about it on the wiki when I was trying to make a thumbnail one day, and from what I read and from what I hear about trustworthy sources, they speak very highly of it, and what they describe it to me as seems interesting, and I will pick it up eventually. That has the good dramatic story. Ichi the Witch has great art. Sakamoto Days has good art, cool fight choreography, and raw moments. Art is subjective, and if you disagree with that take, cool. But I will say I see Kagurabachi talks more than any series in Shonen Jump. Now, of course, those other series have it as well, but it feels like Kagurabachi is more prominent. It just has one of those fandoms that's always engaging, and I think Hokuzono is a big proprietor to that. Every chapter feels like we're making progress towards the big payoff. But it all feels right, and the urge to want to talk about it, theorize, make headcanons, meme, it's ever so prevalent in Kagurabachi. Hokuzono is good about knowing the medium and his demographic. Especially for his age, I feel like he just has a feel for what the demo wants, and he's even said it himself about making sure when he sees a cool idea or something that inspires him, he wants to use it right away. And I do believe that him being grounded in all the other aspects I previously mentioned in this video just elevate the weekly experience. So maybe it's more a testament to Hokuzono's balance as a creator, to be able to juggle all these tricky and intricate parts to create a story that's fun to read and hard to guess where it's going. And I am of the belief that Kagurabachi is only going to get better. Hokuzono is only going to grow as a creator, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with this story. That'll do it for me though. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite aspect of Kagurabachi is. There's no wrong or right answer, it's all subjective. Gush over what makes you love Kagurabachi. Thanks for staying for the whole video. Remember, stay normie, stay weeb, shit even in between is fine. Until next time, peace.